Finally here, the Euros. I've waited so long, even though I've only waited 2-3 weeks, but it feels like forever. Me and Dan are back. We're going to go through the different types of permutations that could happen in this tournament, which basically involves looking at each group, who do we think is going to finish where, and then moving into the knockout stages. If you are joining us from the West Ham Way Euro 2020 Prediction League, drop a like on the stream, drop a comment to let us know that you're here. If you are new and you're thinking about joining a prediction league ahead of the Euros, make sure you check the description out. You can do that today. It's free and there will be a cash prize. So loads to play for, obviously with England as well. Hopefully we can try and win a major tournament in my lifetime. Dan, let's start with the first group. Obviously, it is Group A, I believe. Switzerland, Turkey, Wales and Italy. Italy to win it? Is that a fair shout?
I think so, mate. I think the quality they've got. They've not lost in 23 games as well. I was listening to TalkSport. Yeah, it's mad form. And I think they're too strong for them teams. And they'll find a way. They've got strength in depth. So I'll go Italy first for me to win that, no problem. Second, who are you thinking second, mate? Because we've got Turkey, for me, are dark horses in this competition. You know, Yilmaz has been firing all season. They've got Soyuncu in there. They've got some decent players. So I think they'll go a bit under the radar.
I agree. I think they're possibly even dark horses for the tournament. And obviously, them being in the group first and foremost with Italy does mean that they can get divvied up and possibly try and meet them further down the line. Yilmaz is the one to watch. He's a golden boot contender for me, or he's an outside chance. Obviously, he's got 18 goals this year. So I think you've got to look at Turkey. And I've been really impressed, to be fair. I know when people talk about Turkey, they talk tactically about their manager, getting the most out of that side. I would have them second. For me, I can't really see Wales getting that far, if I'm honest. I think a lot, they're going to be heavily reliant on the likes of Ramsey, Bale. You've got Harry Wilson playing a false nine. So for me, it feels like a bit of a step too far for them.
Agree, yeah. I don't think they have enough firepower. When Bale's on it, they do well, but I don't think they've got enough steel compared to Switzerland. I think Switzerland will finish third. I think they'll edge it. I don't think there'll be much between them and Wales, but for me, I think it'll be a short road for Wales, unfortunately. Well, not unfortunately, because I don't really care how they do.
I get like this as well. I nearly went, I'd like them to go far, but I honestly don't care.
I don't know what Simon Jordan said on TalkSport. Why would you care how other teams do? It's just about England, didn't it?
I don't. I think you get caught between two minds, I guess, because they are the underdogs, and you do like underdogs going far in a tournament, and then you remember that it's Scotland, Wales, and normally Ireland. So again, you look at it and think, I'd rather you just got dumped out of the group stage. But we don't know. We don't know, Dan. If they get enough points, maybe they get through as the third place team into the knockout rounds, and then we'll see.
Maybe.
I'd love to play them if we could in a knockout game.
The Swiss, to be fair, mate, they haven't. They're reliant on Shaqiri. They've got Mbolo, who's a decent player. They've got Granit Xhaka in there, but I don't think Wales could easily finish above them. For me, I don't think Switzerland have any superstars from memory. So, Wales is certainly capable, but I don't think they'll turn up Wales. I can't see it. So that's why I've got them last.
Yeah, they're heavily reliant on a few key players. I think Rodon's playing at the back. They've not actually got, in terms of the structure of a team, it's not that bad. Obviously, it isn't kind of the stalwarts that they had in 2016, with the Ginger Pele and players like that, and Bale at his pomp. But who knows? I think they will finish above Switzerland. I don't know about you. I think they'll come up with a win somewhere. I think they will. I think possibly over Switzerland. And I think in games like this, where you need a bit of star power or a player to turn up, I wouldn't write Bale off. I can't write Bale off. I think he shows it in spells for Tottenham, maybe not consistently, but it's a knockout tournament, not a Premier League.
And they've got Kiefer Moore in there as well, Harry Wilson, who can come up with a goal.
Free kick specialist.
Yeah, so, go on then. We'll go with Wales third to edge it and then Switzerland last. I can't see Switzerland having many... They don't have much quality, do they? So that's why I think they'll come short.
No, and you talked about the likes of Shaqiri, who hasn't played regularly this season. Again, coming into a tournament, it doesn't help when you're not regularly playing enough. I know he's a quality player on his day, but again, I think Wales, if you're talking about having quality players and standout players, rather have Aaron Ramsey and Gareth Bale than I would Xhaka and Shaqiri. So Group B, Russia, Belgium, Denmark and Finland. Again, very similar, I guess, in a way to Group A in terms of the winners. I think I know Denmark have got a really balanced midfield, but Belgium are the standouts there. Yeah,
I agree. I think Belgium have got more attacking prowess about them, haven't they? They've got a plethora of quality up top. Lukaku, De Bruyne. You got Carrasco in there, Hazard, obviously. So Mertens as well. So they've got a lot of good players that they can rely on and change a game in an instant. Whereas Denmark, you look at their forward options, you've got Martin Braithwaite, Jonas Wind, Cornelius, Poulsen, Olsen, and Dolberg. Are they going to get you out? Are they going to make you, I don't know, finish top of the group? Not for me. But they have got some good midfielders, like you said. They've got Joachim Andersen at the back as well, Daniel Vass, Christiansen, who's had a good season. So they've got some decent players in there. Yes, Michael in goal as well. Who else they got? Højbjerg. So there's some decent players in there, but for me, it's the firepower once again. And will they be able to score enough goals? I know Poulsen has a goal in him, but in terms of coming up with match-winning moments, compared to Belgium, for me, they're a bit short.
Very rarely, though, isn't it, with Poulsen? I think he works half of that Leipzig side, but he's obviously not the standout, and he's not really prolific. Braithwaite, another one that can score some goals in the Championship. I'm not sure he's quite Barcelona level, but I like the midfield. I've got to be honest, I really do. I think Højbjerg's a fantastic player, despite being a Tottenham player. He's had a good season. He gives them balance. Delaney, you've got the energy in there. Christian Eriksen can create, and we know he's got free kicks in him. Christensen and Schmeichel's a really decent balance in terms of the defensive line as well. So I think they're pushing for second place. You can't look past Belgium. I don't think Belgium have got the standing power to get to the last couple of innings in this tournament, because I don't think their defense is strong enough. You look
but I think they'll I think they'll walk this group though. For me,
I think they'll be comfortable. I think, but you look at their attacking players, De Bruyne. Even if you can get something out of Eden Hazard at a tournament, I think it's probably unlikely given he started in fits and starts. But Lukaku's been sensational this season, and having a player like that up front, if you can get service into him, even from those deep midfield positions, Witsel and Tielemans is incredibly balanced, but also really good ball playing centre midfielders.
Yeah, that's it. And they can, they have the capability to dominate games, don't they, from the off. And where you're going to win a game, especially in this tournament, is down to your midfield. And compared to the Danes, the Danes have got Højbjerg and Eriksen as well, haven't they? But I think Belgium are too strong, really. So are we agreeing that Russia finished third and Finland fourth?
Yeah, nothing from Finland for me. I can't profess to being a massive critique of Finnish football or even Finland players. Teemu Pukki is the only one that...
Yeah, Pukki, yeah.
So I think we'll go Belgium first, Denmark second. Russia have got some players in there. I think they had a few promising talents at the World Cup last time out, so I think they'll do well enough to finish third. But
they're solid enough, aren't they? They got is it Jubju up front, whatever his name is, and some good players. But in terms of Finnish players, I can't confess to be very knowledgeable on them, apart from Pukki and maybe a few others. But I think they'll get spanked, to put it nicely, in this group. But then again, maybe low expectations and low pressure might, instill them to do better in this tournament. So you never know, but I can't see them going very far. So
I can't see it. I think that as a group is probably the biggest formality in the whole tournament, if I'm honest.
Yeah, I agree.
I can't see Russia really going up against Denmark and beating them, and I can see Belgium beating Denmark. So that being said, Group C.
Group C, yeah.
Austria, North Macedonia, Ukraine, which I want to talk to you about because we've obviously got Andrei Yarmolenko in there, still scoring goals, and the Netherlands. So I guess it's really a clash for the top space, and I think Frank de Boer as the manager for the Netherlands has been poor. And we looked at the squad last night, Dan, and actually the Netherlands have got some decent players in there that they could get more out of. And then you look at Ukraine that have done so well under Andrei Shevchenko. I don't think it's as clear cut as to who's going to finish first in this group.
Not at all. No, Netherlands have some good players and better players than how they're performing at the moment. They've got, for me, they're short up front. I know they've got Depay, Marlon, Promes is in there as well, isn't he? And Weghorst, De Jong. They've got Wijnaldum in midfield. Gravenberch is a good player. Defensively, without Van Dijk, do you worry about them? Yes, probably, because you've got Timber in there, who's a good player but very young, inexperienced. De Vrij a good player. Ake, I'm not so sure on. And then the fullbacks are a bit weak as well, maybe except Dumfries and Windal. So they've got some good players and they can do better than what they are at the moment. Because when I watched them against Scotland, I thought Scotland did a job on them.
Yeah. Scotland are courses as well. Probably a little less so than the likes of Italy and Turkey, but they're so well structured. They know exactly what they need to do. Yeah,
they do. Yeah. And when you look at Ukraine in there as well, mate, I'm looking at their squad now. They've got Zinchenko, obviously Yarmolenko, Konoplyanka. I don't know if you remember him.
Yeah, quality player.
They've got up top Yaremchuk's a decent player. Not a lot of firepower, but they've got some decent, talented names in there. So, they could be a very solid outfit, hard to break down, and quite versatile with their options as well. So,
I'm going to go Ukraine at top of this group. I've just got a sneaky feeling I think they'll do a bit of a number on the Netherlands, and I think they can beat both Austria and North Macedonia. I think the Netherlands get through. I think they're definitely strong enough to go and beat Austria and North Macedonia. But I can see Ukraine getting that top spot, which might help some teams out further down the line.
Yeah, I agree. Watching Austria, I think against England, they lacked Marko Arnautovic, didn't they? A dynamic forward who's going to, get in behind, run defenders ragged. I thought, I don't know how to pronounce his name, that tall lad, Zaladzic or something, no idea, was decent, but he limits to how they want to play. Arnautovic can run in behind, he can get other players involved. Zaladzic is more of an aerial striker with, relying on crosses. So for me, that's why they'll probably finish third. I didn't see enough from them in terms of having different options on the game to bring off the bench. So they've got some decent players though. Sabitza's decent player, Alaba obviously, but
that's why even I can't really write them off against the Netherlands, because I think their pressing against England in the first half impressed me. I didn't expect them to do that. I think second half they started to sit a little bit deeper and frustrate us, but I think when you've got players like Alaba that is so well-rounded as well, Sabitzer is a really well-rounded player. I'll be interested to see that dynamic and whether they can pull something off, because they did create chances against England, like you say. They just lacked a finisher at times, and I think De Ligt is still raw as a talent. I know that he can be a top class defender, but I just feel at the moment, again, he hasn't really progressed too much. So you never know. You never know if the Netherlands slip up against Austria, they could slip into third. But I'd have to, if we're going to do a tournament prediction, I've got to hedge my bets and say Netherlands second.
Yeah, Austria third, and then for me, North Macedonia last.
Fantastic. Well, I've done that. I don't think we need to talk about North Macedonia. I think Alioski plays for them at left back. So maybe Goran Pandev, 37 years old, up front.
Yeah, right. Now we're into the elephant in the room, Group D, which is so difficult. There's so many ifs and buts, and England could do this, Scotland could do that. Czech Republic are a solid outfit, they're no mugs. So,
yep. It's tough, Dan. I think this group, outside of the group of death, because of the quality of the teams in there, is probably the most balanced, I think, in terms of what team can do what and possibly get into those top two spaces. I think we can't discount Scotland. I think they're so well drilled. I think Steve Clarke's got the balance right in the side. The fact now you can see he's getting the most out of Tierney and Robertson's getting the license to get forward. They've added Che Adams in there up front. Lyndon Dykes working hard as well alongside him. McTominay, even though I don't rate him too highly as a player, is flitting between playing in almost a back three in that midfield. And you've also got dynamic midfielders in the likes of John McGinn and Armstrong. So you feel that Scotland could cause an upset at some point. I don't really want to say that they're going to go and beat England. I don't think they will. I'm probably going to regret saying that. I think we've got a little bit too much. Yeah. I think the top two, if we're hedging bets here, is England and Croatia. And I'm really interested to see on Sunday how we compete with that Croatian midfield, because we know it's got absolute quality.
Yeah, a lot of quality. I don't think they're as good as they were in 2018, if I'm honest.
They've dipped. But when you've got Modric, Brozovic, Kovacic, these are real decent ball players.
They are decent ball players. Mandzukic is in there, isn't he, as well? And he's guaranteed a goal at that level. The defence is relatively weak, I'd say, and that's where you can probably get the best out of them. But in terms of dominating a midfield, Croatia have it in abundance, don't they? They have a really good midfield. That trio, if you like, of Brozovic, Modric, and who's the other one again? Whatever his name is. So
Kovacic.
Kovacic, yeah, that's it. So, but then again, looking at Scotland's squad, mate, we've got Billy Gilmore, John McGinn's a good player, Callum McGregor, Turnbull in there, Dykes, and even Kevin Nisbet, who scored his first goal the other day. So, and Che Adams as well. So they're not superstar players, but what Steve Clarke can do with that group is what he did at West Brom. He gets the best out of the group he has. Do you know what I mean? And he gets players firing on all cylinders with confidence. And then morph that group into how he wants them to play. Declan Gallagher as well. Have you ever heard of him? No. Stephen O'Donnell. They're nobodies really, but he'll get them. It's no walk in the park. It's no walk in the park, this group, mate. Yeah, it's no walk in the park. So you've got to be on it from minute one. And if Scotland show that more heart and desire, like I mentioned last night, it could cause a few issues in this group. So I purely think for that fact. I don't know, mate. Honestly,
on paper, we should beat the Czech Republic and Scotland. So in theory, we're definitely in the top two.
Yeah, I think Czech are last.
Yeah, I agree.
I think they're going bottom, but in terms of the rest, I think we'll finish top and Croatia second because I don't think Croatia is strong, and then I'll go Scotland third.
Yeah,
I think.
I agree. I haven't really got too much to add. I think the Czech Republic, Tommy Souček could come up with a moment. I think because we're England fans, clearly, we always worry about teams like Scotland and the Czech Republic that have got the ability to frustrate us. And we think, are we good enough? We could possibly slip up. But then you look at Croatia, like you say, whilst I think that they can control games at international tournaments with some of the players that they have, they could dip. I don't see them as an outstanding favourite to go and pick up so many points that they're going to be top of this group either.
They couldn't even finish third, mate, to be honest. I wouldn't be surprised if Scotland finish above them, but you can't look past that midfield, can you? Modric, they're quality players. So I think that'll push them over the line, but I don't think there'll be a lot in it between them top three. Czech, I think, will finish bottom, but it's a difficult group, that.
Yeah, it's difficult. I think there'll be a shock in there somewhere, won't there? If either England slip up against one of those teams or Croatia possibly against the Scotland, I think this group has got a shock at some point. Group E, Poland, Spain, Sweden, Slovakia. This is a slightly boring group, if I'm honest. Spain are on a slight decline. I think that's fair to say, or at least in a transition stage where they've got some of the old guard in Thiago. Obviously, Busquets dropped out, and they've got the young players in Pedri coming through, Ferran Torres. I still think they're a safe bet to go and win this group, if I'm honest. And you look at the two other teams outside of there, Poland and Sweden, for me, competing with top two. Am I being too over generous by saying Poland second just because of Lewandowski?
No, because I think they've got a lot of other players as well who can chip in with goals. Piatek as well, Milik, two other good players, and the midfielders as well. They got Klich, obviously, from Leeds. Zielinski, who's a good player.
I forgot about Klich, by the way. I was on Joe's show the other night, and he was saying, Mateusz Klich plays for Poland. Completely forgot myself.
Yeah, and you got Fabianski as well, and Bednarek and Glick, Kamil Glick. So they've got some decent players. Are they superstars? No, but they've got goal scorers in that team. If they get half a chance, half a yard, Lewandowski, Piatek, Milik, all three very decent strikers. Does Spain lack that to a sense? They've got Morata, haven't they? But I'm not. To be honest, I'm leaning towards Poland for top of the group.
I think the one that gets them out of this, Spain, because of their forward men. I think I gave you a predicted 11 last night, and you had Sarabia on the right hand side, possibly Morata down the middle, and Torres on one of the wings. I actually think Torres could be their standout player in terms of getting forward, how quick, how dynamic he is, finding himself within the box and his finishing ability. I think they'll rely on him a fair bit. And Poland, again, I haven't watched too much of them. I'm not sure that they're creative enough. I don't look at their midfield and think there are too many. I know Klich, generally speaking, is a decent number 8 and plays the right pass through the lines, but he's not a 10. And I feel if I was comfortable in them having a lot of service to Lewandowski, I probably feel that they could go and compete for first place. But I think Spain will still control games. Luis Enrique is a top manager as well. And you look at their midfield, whilst they're struggling up front and even defensively, despite bringing Laporte in, they're sort of on the decline. I feel they'll control games. I think they're good enough to finish first.
Yeah, okay. We'll put them top then.
All right then. And then Sweden, Slovakia. I've got to be honest, I don't know too much about Slovakia.
We're on Poland second, yeah?
Poland second, yeah.
Sweden, Slovakia. Sweden, obviously, Ibrahimovic was going to be involved, but he's injured, which is a huge blow for them. Massive blow. They got Alexander Isaac, haven't they? Whatever he's called, and other decent players. I think they'll edge it over Slovakia. I don't think Sweden will go very far, if I'm honest with you. But I think they'll edge it for me.
That's fine. I'm happy to go with that. I haven't really got too much to say about Sweden or Slovakia. So we'll move on to the most interesting group of the tournament, Group F, the group of death. Ooh. Portugal, France, Germany, and Hungary. So we'll take Hungary out of it because for me they're going to finish bottom. Now we're going to try and decide between these top 3 places. Dan, I'm going to let you start because I'm going to have to think this through. Who do you think wins the group? It's going to be really tight, I feel, between these teams.
Oh, mate. A lot of people have backed Portugal. More and more people as we go along and we're getting closer to the Euros are saying Portugal to go all the way. As that comment says there, France, I think France finished top purely because of their midfield, mate, like we discussed last night. Kante, Pogba, the options they've got up front. Benzema's coming in now, Mbappe, Dembele, Griezmann. It's an endless list, isn't it? It's absolutely endless. So I think top it for me, I think Portugal finished second, and I think Germany finished third. That's what I'd go with, purely because Portugal are on an upwards trajectory for me in terms they got Fernandes, Ronaldo. Neto would have had a good tournament, but obviously he's not in it anymore. But they still got some good players. Andre Silva to come off the bench, he's fit and firing. And I think Germany, although they've got some very good players and superstars in that midfield, I think they're lacking a real goal scorer. Muller's not really in his prime anymore, so that's what I'd go with. But then again, it could be completely different to that.
I think Germany sneak into second place. I've just got this feeling. I looked at their midfield yesterday: Kroos, Gundogan, Kimmich, Guzman's left wing back. The players that they've got from
Gundogan, yeah.
Gundogan is a real shout for me as possibly a surprise player of the tournament, just because
Golden
of
Boot, maybe.
Well, exactly. I didn't even include him. They were all strikers, not centre midfielders. You'd never really label someone like that. But Gundogan is an absolute specialist at that role. Portugal, I think
the midfield's a bit weak, isn't it? William Carvalho.
Defensively, maybe there's a lack of athleticism there, possibly. And that's why I feel that Germany could sneak into that top two, because I look at their midfield and the options that they've got. We discussed this last night. If Gundogan gets further forward, Kimmich can maybe come into midfield, and he's the ultimate dictator of play. So I'm going to put my neck on the line. I reckon Germany second, and then I'm just struggling now between Portugal or France, who drops into third. And I'm tempted to go Portugal. Maybe that's a little bit wayward. But like you say, some of the midfield balance in there, particularly defensively. You look at France's midfield, Kante, giving the license for Pogba, Tolisso to get forward. We looked at the options off the bench. Even Sissoko, who's not technically the most sound, but aggressive and will go and try and win that ball. So I think I'm going to go France to win it, Germany second, Portugal third. And what did you say?
In argument of Portugal, yeah. Yes, Germany have superstars in midfield. Better midfield than Portugal, granted. Portugal, is it fair to say, David, I don't know if you agree, they're quite slow in midfield. William Carvalho's not that quick. I don't know if they can dominate a game in midfield, but then again, David's saying about Polina.
Okay. Yeah, that's fair enough.
But I think they've got better fullbacks than Germany do. I think you look at Nuno Mendes and you look at Semedo or the other right back, I can't remember his name, but who are Germany's right backs? You got Kimmich, but Kimmich won't play there.
Yeah, Cancelo for Portugal.
Yeah, Cancelo and Kimmich will play in midfield for me, no doubt, unless he does a Cancelo kind of utility role. But that's where I think Portugal are better. But it's so difficult to call. It really is.
It's tough. It is tough because Germany aren't really the type of side that is going to press in that midfield, and I feel that a side that can press against Portugal, particularly the two defensive midfielders, might be very fortunate, and then they can try and expose the like Pepe, who is lacking mobility. He's getting on a little bit. Diaz has obviously been fantastic. That's where the weakness lies. You're right, Dan. It's a good point. So you've thrown a spanner in the works. I'm going to go for. Did we say France will win the group? Did we both agree on that?
Yeah. France will win
Portugal?
it. Okay. No, France will win the group. Yeah, France will have too much. I think they'll actually walk the group, to be honest. In terms of between Germany and Portugal, there's nothing in it. I'd personally go Portugal for second because, I don't know, Ronaldo will be up for it, mate. I seen him say this morning that he's got more fire in his belly than in when was it, 2008 or something, when he won it. So
yeah, 2016. Yeah, possibly.
And they won it in 2008 as well, just letting you know.
I'll give you it. I'll give you it, to be fair. You can have it. No worries. Right, let's go for it. Portugal second.
I'll have it.
Germany third.
Take one for the team then. Right.
Brilliant.
Predict the 4 best third place teams then. Out of Wales, Russia, Austria, Scotland, Sweden, Germany. Scotland are in there straight away for me.
Germany, obviously, as well. So you've got
Germany, Scotland.
I'm happy to go Scotland, if I'm honest. And then I think
Sweden and Wales for me.
I think Wales could do it.
Out of that, yeah.
Maybe they could do it. Out of those, possibly. I'm going to go Wales. Agree? Or would you go Sweden? They've got more game winners. That's what I look at.
You need to pick 4, so I'll go Sweden and Wales.
Oh, yeah. Forgot. It was 3. Fair enough.
Dennis has got Hungary as a sweepstake. To be fair, Szoboszlai for Hungary, different gravy. So he's one to watch for the tournament as well. But apart from that, I think you might lose that sweepstake, Dennis, to be honest.
Look at the group they're in. That's the problem as well.
Yeah,
right.
That's it. If they're in a different group, maybe, but
right. Yeah, if they're in a different group, they might get third place.
So the first knockout is Belgium versus Sweden. Is that the same for you? Yeah.
Let's have a look. Belgium versus Sweden.
Yep.
No, it's absolutely fine. Belgium, for me, easily win this comfortably.
Italy,
probably looking 3-1, probably 3-0.
Yeah, I think they've got too much for Sweden, to be honest. But if they come up against Italy in the quarters, I think they're out straight away. So, Italy, Netherlands is the next game. Italy got too much for them.
Yeah, I'd have to agree. I think both Belgium and Italy will comfortably win their round of 16 games, and then that's an interesting tie. I think Belgium, Italy, if I'm honest. We'll revisit it in a minute. We'll obviously move on to France, Wales. Now, France getting Wales in the next round is very, very fortunate, and I wonder whether Deschamps may try and rotate his side. And no disrespect to Wales, obviously, because they had a decent tournament last time out. But when you've got the squad depth that France do and the options that they have, you probably would do that, because down the line you are going to end up playing a Belgium or an Italy.
Yeah, they'll probably play a second-rate team, won't they? Save it for the quarters, where they'll probably get Croatia, a stronger team, a stronger outfit, more of a test. It's a bit of an insult to Wales rotating a team, because they'll probably make a lot of changes, but they've got the squad depth to do that. They can probably play Dembele in there, put Lamar in there, maybe play Giroud as well, who scored the other night. But that still is a very strong team, and it'll have too much for Wales. But Wales could nick a goal on a day, causing them some issues. But France have got too many goals in them, So.
Yeah, I agree. I think they'll romp in that game. They beat them in the friendly recently as well, so goes to say a lot. Croatia, Poland. This is an interesting one. I think this is tighter than people might give it credit for, because you've got the golden card really in Lewandowski, and you mentioned to me Piatek and Milik as well. You've got options to come off the bench as well in attack, and then Croatia. It's really about their midfield. Can they dominate Poland? But I think this game will be live. I think Croatia will just nick it. But Poland will be live in this game. Yeah, I do. I don't think... I think when you've got a team like Croatia that can dictate the play, I don't look at Poland and think... You mentioned Klich. I don't think Klich's going to go and potentially win the ball in that midfield or be industrious. Maybe they've got other players that can, but I don't think... I think France obviously go and compete against Croatia and even win, but Poland...
I think Poland beat them. I think Poland beat them, because if you look at Croatia's attacking options, you've got Kramaric, decent player, not guaranteed many goals. Bricalo, I've never heard of him. Orsic might be decent. Budimir. There's no Mandzukic in there. Rebic, Petkovic and Lovric. Are they all guaranteed goals in this? Probably not. And compared to Poland's options that they've got up top, I'm backing Poland to beat them.
All right, you win. It's a good chat, actually, to be honest. Because I think if Croatia can't get that goal and Poland are live throughout this game, which they will be with the attacking options that they do, and they probably are more likely to go and nick something. So
it'd be a dead rubber game. It'd be a poor game, but I think there'll be one goal wins it. But
it'll be a tense game.
To be fair,
it'll be a tense game, because if it is 0-0 after 90 minutes, anything can happen. I know Poland probably go into it a little bit as underdogs because of the stature of Croatia, but you are right, Dan. I think they could nick it. So
it's not worth sweating about though, because whoever wins plays France. So
yeah, France have got a nice run in. If they finish top of the group, if they finish second, who knows? Spain, Scotland. I'd love to.
This is another interesting one.
Give them a game. I think they will. I think they will with their wing backs as well.
Yeah, I think they will. Spain aren't as strong as they used to be, in a bit of an awkward transition. Like you said, though, you alluded to before, Luis Enrique is a very good coach. He's very innovative. He'll find different ways. But if Steve Clarke gets his squad up for this game and says they've got a lot of talent, but if every player is a 10 out of 10 for this game and they have a 7 out of 10 on the day, they're winning. So
this is the thing. I do think with the industry of this Scotland side and the outliers and the players that they can get, at least because you look at Scotland, you wouldn't say necessarily there's a lot of creativity there, but you look at the wing backs, particularly Robertson as well, with the quality of delivery that he's got. Anything can happen.
Tierney as well. Yeah.
Tierney coming from centre back. If you use the likes of even Lyndon Dykes and Che Adams, whilst they're not prolific, they will work hard. And I wonder whether the team that wins this game is the team that works harder. Because I think I can't imagine Steve Clarke allowing Spain to play. I think he'll try and be aggressive. And if he's aggressive, who knows? He might nick something. You'd say Spain on paper, but anyone that's watched Scotland play, they've got a plan, they've got a system, they're well adept to it, and they've got key players as well.
Well, that's it. Scotland can really frustrate Spain. Spain have got ability to change a game in an instance. Obviously, they've got Thiago, Fabian, Pedri in there as well, who can provide a killer pass. Dani Olmo's a good player as well, but they're not as strong as they used to be. Traore's in there, Sarabi's in there. Has not had a great season. Moreno's got a goal in him. Oyarzabal's hit and miss sometimes. So are the forward options as strong as they used to be? Probably not. I would have had Rodrigo in there personally from Leeds for a bit of something different.
Yeah.
And Fornals like we talked about last night. But I think, honestly, if this goes to extra time, I think Scotland nick it.
I think they've got that stability as well, Scotland, haven't they? Yeah. When they're playing that back three. And even if you've got Adama and the likes of possibly even Ferran Torres, very much direct players with a bit of pace, you still feel that they can revert back to that back five if they need to. So they can actually cope with what Spain are offering. And then they've got the ability on the transition to hurt them. So I'm going to go
It'll be goals for Scotland though, won't it? It will be goals. And if they can get enough, Che Adams and...
But we don't know, Dan. I mean, possibly from set pieces. I haven't seen enough, but they've got the quality of the delivery there for Tierney, and we know that they've got even Che Adams. I wonder whether he can disrupt them a little bit. I look at Garcia. Whilst he's fantastic on the ball, if he does play, I still think he's vulnerable in the air. He's not the tallest, so who knows? Overload the box, cause some issues. Maybe they nick some.
I'll go with you. I think Scotland beat them.
Yeah, fair enough. I'm going to go with that as well. Maybe we're just getting into the hype too much, but when we discuss it, it does actually seem more likely than it does on
logical. Paper. Yeah. Spain will play triangles. This is an interesting comment around that whole team, but I do like the grittiness of the Scotland squad. That's it, though. That's what might make you go all the way in this tournament, the grittiness. What we had in 2018, not necessarily quality. We weren't good every game, but we had the grit to grind out results against Colombia, etc.
He mentions about Che Adams giving them an option. I think the front two, they're not playing 4-5-1. They've still got two strikers. They will work hard. They will come back and they will work to press on Spain. You look at Thiago, if he's playing in that holding midfield role, he's going to want to pick the ball up the centre-backs. And if they are pressuring them, if they are making it difficult for them to play out, they will disrupt it. So whilst I think on paper, if Scotland sat back against Spain, they could play triangles. I just think Scotland have got it a bit between their teeth. If they get through the group, I think mentality-wise as well, they'll fancy it a bit.
And as well, unless Spain play inverted wingers or, they don't really have a forward though. Moreno doesn't really hang on the last man, does he? Traore, unless he plays centrally, is more get past your man, cross it in. Sarabi is the same. Pedri can play in the hole, or as a false nine, to be fair. Oyarzábal can do the same. But they've got more emphasis on me. They're lacking... I think they'll play Morata probably over Moreno because they'll look to get crosses in the box. But Scotland have the capability to deal with that quite well because they've got quite physical defenders. They might play into their hands a bit.
I'm not sure Morata. You're right. I'm not sure Morata can do enough in open play to cause them issues with a back three. And they've got mobility there as well. Tierney's a very mobile centre back to have, and they'll use him as well getting forward. So I think whilst Morata is normally offside, we'll try and play on the shoulder, and he might have decent movement. I don't think that physically he's going to cause them too many issues. I'm going to go with Scotland. I think we should just do it. We've discussed it. That's it.
Done it. I've done it, mate. Yeah, I've done it.
Let's go for it, man.
Yeah, it's logical. There we go, then. Elephant in the room. England, Portugal. I'll let you start, mate, because this is so tough. It's
England have to play. England have to play on the front foot and be brave to get a result. That's my opinion on it. I think if we're too defensive minded, Portugal, with the players that they've got, the players that can come off the bench, Felix is an example, Diogo Jota, Cristiano Ronaldo, players like even Bernardo Silva with the industry that he's got picking up the ball, they will find us out because I don't think defensively we're good enough. But if we try and play on the front foot, we get mobile centre-backs in there, even if we do play with a back three, and we try and press them a little bit, get onto their midfield, get onto someone like a Pepe, use the movement, Harry Kane intelligently just dropping back into a 10 and get someone to go in beyond in a Phil Foden, we could do it. But he has to be brave. That's the one thing I want to see from him. If he does play Portugal, be brave, use the talent that we've got. Because if we don't compete with Portugal, they will find a way. 100%.
Couldn't agree more. You've got to take it to them from the off. Because if you play slow build-up football like we did in these friendly games, when you got Ruben Diaz at the back, it'll play into his hands. Because you've seen that all season at City, why he's been so good is because he's not being challenged enough. But when West Ham played them at the Etihad, as an example, Antonio got beyond him, caused him issues, exposed the cracks. That's what you need to do. Like you said, Kane drops deep like he does for Spurs. You have a runner off him like Rashford or Sterling, and you're causing them a lot of issues because their fullbacks aren't the best. You can get at them. Nuno Mendes is a good player, but very inexperienced. Semedo isn't the best defensively at all if he plays. So Southgate needs to go for it and take it to them. You know what I mean?
The width comes from their fullbacks, I think, because of the way that those attacking midfielders will play. Bernardo Silva can play off the wing, but he'll come central. Jota will come central. They'll need Cancelo and Mendes to get forward if they're going to try and break England apart. So I wonder whether they'll be vulnerable in those areas as well, and that we can exploit them, and that will give us space. And even if we don't start with a Jack Grealish, which we may not do in this type of game, the fact that you can bring a player like that on, or even a Jadon Sancho, is exciting. But he has to use his subs correctly. And I think even mentally, we have to go at them and we have to get on the front foot, because in order for us to try and win this tournament, which obviously we're starting and we want to go and win the Euros, when you come to this type of game, you've got to take it to them, because if you just sit back, they will find a way. Cristiano Ronaldo will find space. So
if you played how we did in them friendly games, Portugal will rip you apart. No problem. They'll take them chances because they have the quality. But if you look that's it. You know, they can win a game in an instance, but like we can. But if you look at their defensive midfielders, you've got João Moutinho, not very quick at all. Pereira's not quick. Sanchez could possibly play there, but I think he's better as a centre midfielder in a triangle, maybe. Neves isn't that quick this season. He's not that quick, and he's not had a great season. So you can expose them. But you need to get Grealish in that hole, carrying the ball forward, running up plays, making things happen, and we'll win the game. But if you sit back like we did in them, they were like testimonial games, to be honest, and you invite them forward, allow the likes of Felix, Ronaldo, Silva and Fernandes to get on the ball, then they'll win. Then they'll beat us. But it's so difficult to call. It depends if England are on it. If England are on it, we beat them, for me, no problem. But you have to nullify Ronaldo and you have to nullify Fernandes. Ronaldo and Fernandes are the two main attacking outlets for me, for them. Silva's a problem as well, don't get me wrong. But you need to nullify them two the most.
I'm sure we'll do a preview on it if we do get to this stage. I think that's why you almost need even if you can get a Mason Mount in there, that midfield's going to have to work so hard. And we also don't want to be exposed. You want Declan giving that defence a little bit of a surety, because if they are hitting us on a transition and they've got Jota running at you, Bernardo Silva hasn't had a brilliant season, such a great ball carrier, it's going to cause us problems. And I think we were a little bit too naive in terms of our press, even in the friendly games. And I know people will say the personnel won't be the same, but just in terms of the strategy, I think it was a little bit off. So I think we've got to play on the front foot, but I do think our team needs to work incredibly hard off the ball as well. And that comes from the front then. So I wonder whether Mason will be a starter, even though it doesn't seem like a natural option. He should start.
Should be. Yeah, I think he should be one of the first names on that team sheet, to be honest. But I think I'd play 5 at the back in this game, mate, because you've got the width, like you alluded to before, going forward. You've got Ronaldo, who for me, against our back four, 2 centre-backs, Harry Maguire will be fit for them, I imagine. But if you've got Maguire and Stones, Ronaldo will get the better of them. You need someone in there like a Kyle Walker for me, who's going to irritate Ronaldo. Ronaldo, if he attempts to carry the ball forward or get in behind, last man, Walker's there, no problem. So I think you'd be more secure in that aspect as well. And as well, you can get Rice to sit deep, prevent them pockets of space that Fernandes, Silva pick up as well. Even Ronaldo can drop deep and Silva can go in behind. So for the security, I go for a back 5, and then you got the likes of Rice, Bellingham, Mount, Grealish, Kane, and Sterling.
I wonder if Southgate played like that he would look to someone even like a Calvin Phillips as a natural defensive midfielder. If he's going to go 5 at the back, low block, and try and use the front 3 to get him behind, we'd have to have pace. We could go on about this for days, Dan, but it's tough. I don't want to get into it because I'm sure we'll do it at some point. So
it's the toughest game to predict this in the tournament. It's that it could be a high scoring game as well for me. I think I hate to do it. I think they'll beat us.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, I can't see us playing how we want them to play.
Heartbreak, yeah.
And that's the problem for me. And it'll be a bit of a missed opportunity. I'd love to go England, it's coming home. And maybe we turn up and we see something that we haven't seen. But I can't, over a 90-minute period and even into extra time, I think Portugal, particularly with the options they've got, and some of the frailties that I've seen from us, even a João Felix, who I think is fantastic at finding those spaces, give him too much room, he'll cause us problems, because then it'll allow Fernandes to run off him. I think it will be a nightmare. So, unfortunately...
It's their fullbacks as well, isn't it? Cancelo, who can deal with Rashford and the pace that we've got. I just think, yeah.
It's tough.
I can't see it. Yeah.
It's real tough,
unfortunately.
So, unfortunately, Scotland versus Portugal. I'll tell you what, the Scots will love it if they get above us into the knockout stages. They really, really will.
Yeah, they will. They will, yeah.
Ukraine, Germany.
Germany, for me.
It's got to be Germany on paper. Yeah. But I don't know. Again, I haven't watched too much of Ukraine, but because of the form that they're coming into the tournament with, I think it'll be a little bit more competitive than we think it is. I think Germany will have too much in the end, but I think Ukraine will give them a run for their money.
Won't be a rollover, yeah. Won't be a rollover.
I think they'll work hard, 100%. But Germany, the quality is too much. And that's the problem with Germany. Even though they're not in the best of form and not at their prime, the minute they get past the last 16 into the quarterfinals, anything can happen because they're so experienced. The mentality of the squad, they've been there, they've done it. They won a World Cup. So
the thing is, as well, Germany can afford to have an off game. You know, their players can afford to have an off game. It just takes a little glimpse, slice of luck or misfortune from the other team, anything, and they'll win the game. You know what I mean? Like England can do, like Portugal, Belgium. But compared to this game, I don't think Ukraine have enough match winners. Yarmolenko, Yaremchuk are decent players, possibly too reliant on them too. So for that, I think Germany have enough, but I don't think it'll be easy for them at all.
It's so tough. I've just looked back at some of the options and permutations if England finished second in our group. We'd have to play basically Portugal anyway at some point. So
exactly,
I'm just going to park it because we're going to have to come up against them. They're a fantastic side. You're right, Dan. Germany, for me, too strong here, but I think it'll be a tighter game, or at least a more competitive game than we thought.
Turkey-Denmark is a really tough game. Really good game as well on paper, by the way.
Yeah. I think Denmark might do it. Midfield.
I'm just getting up Turkey squad actually quickly. Yeah, but Turkey got you Kuşlu in the middle. Under's not had the best of seasons, has he? Konaloglu, Yilmaz as well.
No, I've changed my mind. I'll go Turkey because I didn't realise they had Kuşlu and play, and even Under, who hasn't been in great form, just because of his directness. And I know Christensen, to be fair to him, hasn't really put a foot wrong at Chelsea since Tuchel's come in. But and someone like a Schmeichel might try and dig him out of trouble. But I think they've got maybe too much in terms of firepower. And the free kick specialist, I'm not even going to try and pronounce his name, is different level. So
Konaloglu, yeah.
That's the one. Yeah. So I'll probably go Turkey. Dan.
They've got some decent centre backs as well, mate. You know, Soyuncu, Demiral from Juventus, Zelik from Lille, Kabak, Liverpool as well. So
yeah, okay.
They got some steel in there.
Than I gave him credit for, to be honest. I love Kuşlu as a player, by the way. I think
he's a top player.
He should be in the Premier League next season.
I'd love for West Ham to go for him.
Oh, that type of player.
Really good player, yeah. Really good player. That was a good signing from West Brom, that to be fair. But I'm going Turkey, and I think it'll cause Germany issues, but we'll get to that soon.
Yeah, you've changed my mind again. Come with the squad, and now I've started to think, Turkey probably have got a little bit too much. Yeah. Right, back up to the top. Belgium, Italy. Got some great ties here, Dan, if I'm honest. A few in the middle that are probably less contentious, but the sort of the top and the bottom are very good. Belgium, Italy. I think the Italians do it. I think they're probably more disciplined. I think I look at Belgium and it's just that defensive weakness for me. And there is a naivety there, and it's always been there with someone like a Martinez. And when you add into that, you look at the centre-backs, Vertonghen, Alderweireld, they are getting on. And I hate to label and throw that at them, but when you do get to that age and you're trying to play wide centre-backs, see from Chelsea this season, you can only really do it if you've got the athleticism. And you look at someone like an Insigne, Immobile, if he gets a chance, the goals that he scored this season, I think they'll be too much. And I think their midfield as well, that's going to be a fascinating battle. The likes of Tielemans, Witsel against Verratti, Jorginho. It's going to be really intriguing. Yeah. But defensively, that's the difference with Italy. Bonucci, Cellini, stalwarts, absolute class acts.
Yeah, you got Florenzi in there as well, haven't you?
Donnarumma behind.
Yeah, the only thing that Belgium could cause issue is the left back, mate, Spinazzola. I've not watched much of. I can't confess that I've watched much of him play, but I think he is a winger by trade. So, but maybe he's adapted there over the years. But I think the fullbacks Belgium can cause issue. It depends if Hazard's on it, doesn't it? Hazard. It depends if he's solely on it. De Bruyne, to unlock, De Bruyne as well, and how. But I think Italy can do a job on De Bruyne because they've got Verratti who can play there, dominate. Jorginho's a decent player on his day. Barella is probably more of the attacking out of the three, but I think Italy can do a job on them and really frustrate Belgium. And then look at them going forward. You got Immobile, Belotti off the bench can change a game as well. Chiesa, Bernardeschi.
Kiese's a fantastic player with great pace as well.
Really good player. Forward. Yeah. He's a bit of a wild card off the bench as well, isn't he? If Berardi's ahead of him. So I think I agree. Italy edge it for me.
I think it's going to come down to industry. I think Belgium have got to be brave. I think they've actually got to go and press high to get it to Hazard, De Bruyne and Lukaku. I think they're going to have to take that risk. And then you look at the midfield. Whilst I look at Tielemans, who had a brilliant season, Witsel, I've always been a massive fan of. I just wonder whether Italy, the likes of Barella, that are going to be a bit more industrious, almost playing an 8 role, get forward, that additional run. I think it caused them some problems. And the minute that Italy get the ball, I struggle to see where they give it away. And if they do, Belgium are going to have to really press high. And they beat the press. And for me, I just feel there's going to be too much naivety in there. I think you're right. Proper job, I think, from Belgium.
Yeah. And it depends if Lukaku's on it, doesn't it? If he has a really good tournament, he could potentially be Golden Boot winner as well. But Belgium need to get the best out of him. It's like we need to get the best out of Kane. If Belgium get the best out of him and provide him the service he needs, then they might win this game.
I think Hazard could be the key. I think De Bruyne. I think they'll frustrate De Bruyne at times. Hazard will have to be at his peak best in terms of carrying the ball and throwing them out of position. And I also think Lukaku, although he's been great this season, may struggle against a Bonucci and a Chiellini because they're so physical and because they can deal with him trying to back into them and run off them. And I think maybe that doesn't work in Lukaku's favour, but never say never. When you've got De Bruyne, Hazard and Lukaku in your side, honestly, you could get to the final and win it, absolutely. But on paper, the way that they'll play, I think we've got to go for the Italians with their lovely home kit as well.
Agree. Next one's not that hard, mate. France, Poland.
France, see you later. Let's go through. No chance for me. I don't think Poland have got a chance. They're too good, France. They're way too balanced. They'll win the midfield. They've got too much threat up front. And even defensively, whilst there may be weaknesses there, I just can't see Poland controlling enough of the game to get it to Lewandowski. So Italy-France is a fantastic semi-final as well. That Italy could spring a surprise there. Scotland, Portugal. I think it'll be tougher than the Portuguese thing, possibly.
I do. Yeah, I do. I think on quality, in terms of quality, it's Portugal to go through for me. I think Scotland, if they go that far, can hold their heads up high, mate, can't they? Portugal would need to have a very bad day at the office to not go through. But even if they do have a bad game and Scotland are a better team, if Scotland don't take the chances, Portugal have got options, strength and depth. Does Scotland have that as much? Probably not. And that's what it might come down to in the end for me, especially in the knockout stages. You need quality to take your chances, win the game, and compare Che Adams to Ronaldo and Andre Silva. You know what I mean?
Silva as well, isn't it? You're right. It's those options that you can refresh with and bring off the bench. I actually think Portugal could at times play them off the park because of their possession. I know we spoke about Spain. I look at Spain and I feel that there is a little bit of imbalance there. But you look in terms of even the likes of Cancelo at right back, how composed he is on the ball, how he comes into the midfield and can control games as well. I think even though I've given them a lot of credit, Scotland, for being industrious in that area, I think it's going to be too much. And if they move out of position, I think they may actually be forced to sit in a low block at times. And that's really going to hurt them because even if they come out and go and press, Fernandes will find space. Ronaldo will be another player that if they go and get Fernandes, they've got to occupy. I think it's going to be too much. So whilst I'd like there to be almost a Scottish underdog story, Portugal for me. I think they win this. Yep. I think they control it as well.
Yeah, agree.
Right, and then Germany, Turkey. Domestic derby.
This could be a scare. I think Turkey could definitely go and beat them. Because like we've alluded to before, Germany are on a bit of a downward spiral. They're in a weird transition for me. Yes, they've got some very good midfielders and all that, but again, it's the firepower. Turkey got Yilmaz. If Yilmaz has got fed the service like he has been this season at Lille, he scored a lot of goals over there. If he's on it, you never know.
This is the thing. I think that you said about Turkey's centre-backs, and I believe they could be even playing in the back three at times. So
yeah.
I think there's really good balance there as well. I don't think it's easy. And I think if we were talking about a traditional back four up against Werner with some of his movement and Müller in the spaces that he finds, I might have been saying that Germany will probably edge it. But I think it's going to be really tight, this game, a bit of a chess match. And I wonder whether matching them up in a 3-4-3 is actually going to frustrate Germany a fair bit.
Germany will win this game purely from the likes of Havertz and people like that and players like that who can get in the pockets. But for me, if Turkey defend in a if Turkey have a narrow defensive shape and allow Gnabry, Sane to have the ball in wider areas, that's not a problem because it's more not preventing them from coming inside and getting the shots away. So if they can do that, really frustrate them, block these pockets of space in the middle where Muller, Havertz, and Werner can get in, you never know.
It's a good shout, Dan, because when I watched Germany in their last friendly, the way that they have underlapping wing backs at times, the way there's the additional run from the number 8, everything is very, very central. And you look at even Bayern Munich to a degree with Gnabry and Sane, the way that they play almost as inside forwards. I think if Turkey set up right, they can frustrate them. I'm tempted to go here for a Turkey win. I don't know why. I feel that they can do
it. Get into your head, mate. Get into your head. What you got to think as well.
You've got all the stats, and when you say it the way you do, particularly with the personnel, you've got me. And I think maybe.
You never know. Just because as well, if you defend in a narrow defensive shape, and they've got defensively very dominant aerial centre backs in Soyuncu, Demiral, and what's his other face? Oh, he's going to kill Kabak. Yeah. Two of them are very dominant centre backs. Kabak is still raw. Got a lot. You probably would play him in this game, to be honest, just as an additional man. But if you're forcing Germany to put crosses into the box, and you look at, apart from Muller, Werner's not that great in the air. Havertz isn't known for his aerial ability. Kimmich, Kroos isn't who might come up for a goal. So, and if they take the chances at the over end.
The only one that could dig him out is Gundogan. He's the only one that I feel that they may struggle with. And the point on Kabak, whilst he has struggled with Liverpool in a back four in a very, very high line, if Turkey's sitting a low block in a back three, it could be a completely different ball game. And you are right, because of that aerial presence and how Germany will have to play. And even if they can restrict Gnabry and Sane to those wide areas and they can't get inside, then they're going to be comfortable. So
that's it. But if they defended it, if they've got a wide defensive shape and they allow Gnabry and all these to cut inside, fluent movement, Germany will rip them apart. It solely depends on how Turkey set up. Yeah. But if Turkey set up like we've mentioned and frustrate them and take chances at the other end, I think Turkey could do it.
Up the Turkey. Right, we're going to go. I'm going to go Turkey. Go on, Turkey. I'm fully behind you. They've done it before in the Euros, haven't they? They've been massive underdogs. So
yeah.
Let's go Turkey. So the semi-finals, according to us, are Italy, France, and Portugal, Turkey.
Half Turkey slipped in there.
Because we decided, unfortunately.
Yeah.
I mean, it would have been an unbelievable Italy, France, and Portugal, Germany on paper would be fantastic. Obviously, with England not being there. But Italy, France...
I'd love Italy. I'd love Italy to beat them and go all the way. I really would. Because I just feel like they need a change. You know what I mean? France won the World Cup. They've had their glory. Let someone else have it. But
that's going in cycles, doesn't it? In terms of teams going and winning stuff, and France are in their World Cup Euro cycle, so they got to be favourites, really.
Yeah, you've got Mbappe, haven't you? Who's key. Giroud, Griezmann, Benzema. You know, they've got so many goals in them for me. So if Portugal, to be fair, it could be a really high-scoring game, or it could be few and far between and be an awful game and really boring, and they just nullify each other completely, and none of them, both teams are scared and panic, so they just go to extra time. It could be a penalty shootout, this decider, honestly.
I think France are probably the only midfield in here that can compete with every single midfielder of each side. And you look at Italy, we spoke about how well balanced they are.
It's Italy, yeah, I said Portugal, my bad.
That's all right, man. I know what you mean. I just feel that Kante is the trump card. He really, really is. And if he frustrates that Italian midfield that will try and get them to come inside and progress a little bit more, he can sniff them out. And it's going to be a really interesting duel, particularly if they use Barella and Verratti in those 8 positions, and Kante's got to deal with it. Because if Italy do it right and they overload those areas, they might be able to get in and around Kante, because Kante's better when he can intercept in open play. When he's sitting deep, less so it becomes difficult. And then obviously if they go and win the ball, they can possibly get out of Kimpembe and Varane. And Lucas Hernandez isn't the best. And like you said earlier, Pavard isn't the most mobile either. So there are opportunities here. But France going forward, you look at Mbappe possibly running off the likes of Bonucci and Cellini, Griezmann picking up
Florenzi as well. Yeah.
It's got to be France for me in terms of that attacking intent.
I agree.
That being said, France go through to the final. Yeah, I think we're going to get a repeat, to be honest, of Euro 2016 here.
I do, yeah. I think so.
Then Portugal, Turkey.
I think Portugal have too much. Like I said before, Turkey could do the same, how they set up against Germany, but Portugal have got a better squad than Germany for me in terms of offensive output. That's why I'm going Portugal to go through to the final.
I think it's the game changers, the winners in the Portuguese side. I look at Ronaldo, and I look at Ronaldo as well. The reason why we said Turkey over Germany is because of Germany lacking an aerial threat. Now, Ronaldo has a habit of being very quiet in some games and can turn up, and we know his aerial threat is absolutely lethal. And there are other players in there you wouldn't expect, like even a Diogo Jota, who's decent in the air given his size. So there are opportunities, I think, from deliveries into the box. They get Cancelo moving on forward as well. We know the quality that he possesses. And if Turkey make one wrong move, that some of the number 10s that Portugal can play, Bruno Fernandes, João Felix, that there are so many options for them. So I think they'll be too strong. Obviously, Turkey will give it a great go. And it'll be really interesting to see whether they go and try and compete with them on the front foot, whether they sit back a little bit deeper and frustrate them. But similarly to England against Portugal, I feel like Turkey have to get on the front foot to get anything from this game, because if they sit back against Portugal, they will break them down over 120 minutes.
Yeah, it'll be a matter of time, won't it? Yeah, exactly. I agree with you, mate. I think Portugal have got too much, but Turkey, fair play if they get to the semi-finals to get knocked out by Portugal. That's a terrific tournament for them. But yeah.
Absolutely. And then France and Portugal in the final, a repeat of Euro 2016 with no Dimitri Payet.
Had to be, didn't it? Yeah, didn't it?
I think France do it. I think the midfield's again a crucial battle. I think they may have to bring in a Renato Sanchez Portugal if they're going to try and compete here, just to be a little bit more physical. I think that'll be the problem. And you'll look at players like Pogba if he gets too much space in that Portuguese midfield. And Pogba isn't necessarily the most quick or athletic or even direct, but I fancy him against Neves and Carvalho, to be honest, if they play. So you give him too much time, he'll break you down as well. So I think France do it. And the attacking options, and Mbappe running off Pepe, as good as Pepe has been this season, and I know he's 37, and Diaz as well, like you touched on earlier, mobility. They could play Giroud backing into Diaz, occupying him, playing off him, Benzema as well. The attacking options are way too much for France. And even though Portugal have got a lot going forward, France are absolutely elite.
The thing is, what is key for this game is how Fernando Santos uses his fullbacks, Cancelo and Mendes, or Guerrero. Because Cancelo and Mendes, for me, because Mendes is quicker than Guerrero, they're very capable of nullifying Dembele, Mbappe if he's on the left side with the pace. They're more than capable of matching them. But if they're instructed to go too far forward, get the crosses in, be a different attacking source maybe that Santos could use to surprise France, then France on the counter will be devastating and it will play into their hands massively. But like you said, France have got too many options. Could Portugal look to maybe play Silva off Ronaldo in this game for a different option? Silva's good in the air. Ronaldo's quick, dynamic, as we know, to give him a bit more support. Because if Ronaldo's playing on his own and you've got the Fernandes behind him, Silva on one side and whoever on the other, Ronaldo needs more service than that in this game for me.
That's the thing that I look at with Ronaldo. Obviously, he can win a game at the click of his fingers, but at the same time, I do feel that he can go missing in games. And I wonder whether if Portugal was sort of receding a little bit and he becomes isolated and he starts to wander off to the left, when you've got Kante just in front of those centre-backs, it becomes way too easy to manage. So I wonder whether Portugal would be better adding another man into that midfield in order to compete, win the ball, and then try and get service into someone like a Cristiano Ronaldo. That's the only way I can see it, really. And the fullbacks, like you mentioned, because they can match them, and that is a fantastic point in terms of the pace. And we spoke about mobility as well a lot of the times with regard to Pavard. Now, if you can get an overlap there or even an underlap and expose that and exploit it, they will create. And they have got finishers as well, Portugal. So if they nick a goal, maybe they can afford to sit back. Maybe they nick it. But
that's it. And as well, they've got pace going forward. They've got Guedes and Rafa Silva. So if you get them to get out France's fullbacks, like I've said, Pavard isn't that mobile. Hernandez is okay, but he's probably better going forward. And they leave some gaps in behind them. You can get out Kimpembe and Varane, no problem. I know they're two outstanding centre-backs and their recoveries are mad. And even if they lose a bit of ground, they'll probably make it up because they're very athletic and difficult to get past. But, if you've got Ronaldo occupying them, running to occupy the space and leaving space in behind him to create that space, then you've got issues there. But for me, France too dominant in midfield. I think this game will be solely won on the dominance of midfield. And I think Kante, Pogba will overpower the likes of Neves and Moutinho for me if they play. And Fernandes, obviously, will have to do a lot of tracking back and defensive responsibility on him. Same with Bernardo Silva to disrupt Pogba and Kante. But can they be stopped? Probably not.
I wonder whether you look at Bernardo Silva and you play maybe slightly deeper. Sometimes for Manchester City in those bigger games, Pep uses him because of his pressing ability. I wonder whether just having that, he's not physically the most overpowering, clearly not, but maybe just to give them a little bit more energy, because I do think that's a problem.
He's got a good work rate, hasn't he?
He's got an unbelievable work rate, and he's talented, and he can flip between wing positions and 10 and playing slightly deeper. He isn't going to control the play necessarily, maybe even as well as a Neves, because of how Neves plays, but it will give you the energy to compete. I just feel there's too much, Dan. I think France will just do it.
I agree. Yeah, cut the story short, I think France win it.
Up the French.
Under French croissants, yeah, but they got too much, mate. Yeah, you could say all these ifs and buts, but I think even if you instruct Bernardo Silva to play a deeper role, that's not his natural position. And then you could play Sanchez there as well, couldn't you? But Sanchez is a very good player, though. He is, but defensively, as he's seen for Swansea and for Lille this season, he's probably better going forward and playing that complete midfield role in a triangle. With defensive stability behind it. But if you play him in front of that back four, I think he struggles.
Yeah, I agree. They do need a little bit more mobility for me. So it's funny, that all being said, every permutation gone through, it really was down to just the two best sides in the competition. And France, who won the World Cup, going and winning it. But we've got to talk about these things. There's some really interesting teams that could come up in this tournament. Scotland, Turkey. We wanted England. We really tried. We tried to formulate a game plan for Gareth. But for me, it's a step too far. I'll still be playing Three Lions. I'll still be playing World in Motion. But
yeah, we've ordered our shirts as well, and you never know. Our predictions could be way off. It could be completely different. Scotland could win it. You know what I mean? Or England could win it. So
easy, mate. I don't think Scotland are going to.
Yeah, I'm only joking. You never know though, because football's football, innit? But we'll still be singing "It's Coming Home" in the pub, despite us not being allowed. Apparently, having some bevs in the sunshine. I'm watching.
It's coming on.
It's coming home with your mask on. Yeah, that's never happening, by the way. But no, up the Three Lions, up the tournament, up Gaza, up all that. Hopefully. We can end our, how many years of hurt, whatever it is, and just really go at teams, take the game to these teams. Don't be fearful of them, because we can match these teams on our day. We got some, this is the best, we're in no better place now to go into a tournament. This is the best squad I've seen in my lifetime, probably, England-wise, attacking-wise. I think it's
the next, it's
not as good as Gerrard and
the golden generation. Yeah, it's not as good as that.
Yeah, I'll give you that. But
Dan, we were quite young though. I know we remember it, and we remember Rooney coming into it. But this is the one where we're a bit older, and we see a team coming into their prime. Skinfade Gaza and Phil Foden, Jackie Grealish, players like that, Mason Mount. And the best thing about it, and I'm probably being way too optimistic, is those players, take Grealish possibly out of it, Reece James, Mount, Foden have done it at the top level in the Champions League against some of these players. So we should have confidence. Yeah. We should have confidence in ourselves. Whether Gareth does, whether we can tactically deal with it, I'm not convinced. But we've got the personnel, and that's not a bad headache to have.
That's it for me. We've done it in the World Cup. We've gone so far, got knocked out by Croatia. But that's a lesson to learn in that game, where we had a lead that we should have built on at the time. Obviously, we didn't take our chances. That Kane-Sterling situation springs to mind, where Kane went for it instead of squaring it. And it's all ifs and buts. But like Jones said there, Foden can be a hero.
I'd love Foden to go and smash it.
He can be, honestly. It's unlikely, like the comment says, but we've got to hope, this is... to be fair, since that golden generation, mate, we have a lot more options now, in my opinion. Yeah, we had Rooney, Lampard, Gerrard, but did we have the strength in depth back then? I'm not so sure. We've got a lot of quality in this side now. So
we've gone the other way, haven't we? When the golden generation, you look at the back four, was absolutely outstanding. Some of the centre-backs options we had were genuinely world-class. And going forward, even though Owen and Rooney arguably were world-class, other than that, outside of it, we didn't. And now you look at the attacking midfielders that we have, it's the best that I've seen in my lifetime, 100%. And the variability of the type. The only thing we miss a little bit, you feel defensively, we are slightly weak. And I think Gareth will try and compensate for that. And I think possibly having a progressive number 8 we need. And Bellingham is that answer. Can he do it, though, at this stage? I personally believe he can. He's done it at the Champions League. He's ridiculously mature for a 17-year-old. I would love to see Gareth put a little bit of faith in him, because whilst people would say he hasn't got the experience that Hendo's got, I think technically he's got something that Hendo hasn't, and that's being able to carry.
He'll improve himself more as well, won't he? He'll have more fire in his belly to establish himself in a major European tournament. Henderson, arguably the same, but wants to prove a point to the doubters as well, people saying he's not good enough to start. But if you play these youngsters, and like you said, put the faith in Foden, Mount, who's young, Grealish is still relatively young, and Bellingham and Rice, you've got a core there who are already leaders. Look at Rice and Mount, because Southgate's saying that they're future captains for whatever team they're playing. So if you play them over these big name players that he's got already in the team, and you get that balance right in defence, you never know. But if it's hard to what's the word? Dismiss Portugal if we play them in a round of 16. It's really hard.
Yeah, we have a very talented squad. But I look at France and I look at Portugal. We're talking incredible talent in almost every single position. And I think attacking-wise, we've probably got one of the best in the tournaments, to be honest. I think you look at it, you've got a world-class striker in Harry Kane. You've got effectively world-class talent in Foden and Grealish coming through behind him, Mason Mount as well. We have got a real chance. I think what I'd love to see from this tournament is us going and beating a Portugal or a big side. And I think that sets us up really well going into the World Cup, because that's what I always look at. I try and keep it in perspective and look long term. And I look at the next World Cup. I think when a lot of these players are in their prime, it will probably be Harry Kane's last major tournament. If we get a couple of players through, particularly, we spoke about possibly even Ben White, Ben Godfrey, playing more for their clubs, improving as well defensively, we will feel much more comfortable. But I think from a mental perspective, I would love to go and see us beat one of these big sides. That's always been our downfall. If we do that, that's something to build on. And whilst I don't trust Gareth tactically, I do think that he can foster something in terms of an attitude if he goes and beats a Portugal and instill it in these players. And these players have won a lot. They can take this to the international stage as well. Yeah,
that's it. Hopefully we see that the mentality and spirit around the group seems to be good on, when you watch it, doesn't it? It seems to be up there. That's what Southgate is good at, getting that personnel right and the squad and the balance. But it's if he can get the best out of these players, because we got, the best group of players we've seen in our lifetime. So it's whether he can be innovative enough, change the game if it's not working, use these players that are, Mount, Grealish, Kane, world-class players for me, and try and get the best out of them to win these games, even if we're not playing well. That's the key. But it'd be interesting to see. I'll be there with my jersey, having a few, necking some pints and singing, but it's up to Gaza to do the business now. Yeah, it's all well and good writing a Dear England letter and all this and, defending his players and all that, but they've got to do it now. They've got to be ugly in some aspects of the game to win it. It might not be pretty at times. Got to do the dirty work as well, but we can't be timid in this tournament, because if we are, again, when we place, potentially the likes of Portugal, the big hitters, then we'll fall short.
Absolutely, Dan. That's a perfect note to end it on. So tonight, Turkey versus Italy. I possibly may do a match reaction or a breakdown. I will watch it. I can't wait for that game, to be honest. I think it's going to be absolutely fascinating just to get an idea about some of the players. And I will, of course, when you've got free football on the telly, you don't miss it. You absolutely don't. If it's on every single day, you'll watch it. I'm sure me and Dan will do loads of videos over the next month or so covering a lot of these, even some of the other games outside of England, as well as England. But if you have got this far, well done, first and foremost. Secondly, if you have got this far again and you're watching it in the replay or live, drop a like, subscribe to the West Ham Way if you're new. Remember, we have got a Euro Predictions League in the description, so click on that. You've got iOS and Android links as well, so you can join the league. Get involved. It's not long now to the Euro start. I'm buzzing. I was going to say, come on, you Lions, don't feel right. Come on, England, like the Three Lions. And we'll see you all very shortly. Take care, everybody.